Hello and welcome to Leadership Emotional Development, LLC. This workshop is the Emotional Intelligence course specially designed for leaders of all industries. Defining emotional intelligence. Emotional intelligence is the individual's ability to recognize his own emotions and the emotions of others. Emotional intelligence is a part of you that affects every aspect of your life. Understanding the root causes of your emotions and how to use them can help you to adequately identify who you are and how you interact with others. This workshop will give you the tools you need to be emotionally intelligent in your workplace. An employee with high emotional intelligence can manage his or her impulses, communicate with others effectively, manage change well, and solve problems. The 4 dimensions of emotional intelligence. Emotional intelligence has the potential to be a powerful vehicle by which we can deliver exceptional leadership behavior to ourselves and to others. Therefore, we have to take our good judgment with us, and armed with this competencies model, apply them where we have the opportunity to inspire, lead, coach, giving assignments, promote, or even when we reward excellence. Personal and social competencies. Dr. Goleman separated the EQ competencies in 2 groups, the personal and the social groups. Personal competencies. There are 3 areas of personal skills or competencies in emotional intelligence: self-awareness, self-regulation, and motivation or self-motivation. Social skills or competencies. Interpersonal skills are the skills we use to interact with other people. They enable us to communicate appropriately and build stronger, more meaningful relationships. Emotional intelligence includes how we understand others and their emotions, and our actions and behaviors towards them. There are 2 key aspects: empathy and social skills, or relationship management. We'll look at these competencies individually now. Self-awareness. Being aware of oneself is the ability to accurately perceive one's skills and knowledge, value, and responsibilities. It is confident in what you have to offer, whether it's personally or professionally. Self-awareness is not only crucial for one's self-esteem, but it is also the first step to the process of full acceptance or change. Without understanding why one thinks the way he thinks or why he acts the way he acts, he may never fully appreciate himself or see the importance of making changes to improve him if necessary. Self-awareness gives power and a sense of peace or happiness. This newly found strength will more than likely carry over into your work life, how you perform your duties, as well as how you interact with others. The lack of self-awareness can cause you not to realize your worth in the company, or even the quality of the work you perform. This can have an even more dramatic effect when you hold a leadership position. Not only will you have doubts about yourself, but the people you lead will also begin to question your competence, which could ultimately lead to a lack of leadership effectiveness. Self-regulation is another term for self-control, which is defined as the ability to control one's emotions, desires, and behaviors to reach a positive outcome. Self-regulation is sometimes difficult because of the phenomenon that is essential to express how you feel. While this may be partially true, the art of finding the balance between expressing one's feelings and avoiding unnecessary tension is self-regulation. Self-regulation is a direct reflection of the type of pressure one is experiencing. There are 3 types of pressure. Good pressure. This type of pressure is the result of an aggressive, yet non-critical and non-harmful atmosphere. One aspires to be like the people around him or her. This motivation leads to the acquisition of self-regulation. Bad pressure. Bad pressure is when the atmosphere is critical and harmful. One is not motivated and loses self-regulation. No pressure. When one is not experiencing any pressure, he or she tends to act based on emotion, since there is no one to compare against him or herself. Self-motivation. Andrew Carnegie said it best with his quote, People who are unable to motivate themselves must be content with mediocrity, no matter how impressive their other talents. Self-motivation is an essential part of excelling in life. It would be best if you learned to motivate yourself because you cannot depend on others to do it for you. You have to know how to encourage yourself, regardless of how bad the situation. There are several keys to building self-motivation. Work towards a cause. Don't compare yourself to others. Make the conscious effort not to give up. Don't live in your past failures or successes. Utilize positive thinking. There are times when you may need the motivation to get motivated. Positive thinking may not be doing the trick. What should you do? Consider these suggestions. Write down your plan for improvement. Briefly think about your past successes. And read books that promote self-motivation. Empathy. Empathy is sharing in the feelings of others, whether joy or sadness, is an admirable trait. For empathy to work, a leader must first be able to recognize, classify, and understand their own feelings. To do that, we had broken empathy into 3 daily situations that will make you succeed in identifying and preventing safety errors in your workplace, which can end on the next fatality. Carl Rogers on sharing feelings defines: perceive the internal frame of reference of another individual and sharing his or her feelings with accuracy and with the emotional components associated with gives a leader the understanding of the individual's feelings by association. Thus, sharing feelings in empathy means to sense the hurt or the pleasure of another as he or she senses it and perceives it. This will set the leader up for understanding their associate's mental state when complacency has hidden their anxiety from everyone. Martin Hoffman on effective response suggests, an adequate response is more appropriate to another situation than one's own. People with empathy listen attentively and can grasp the other person's perspective. Therefore, giving the right answer back effectively improving his relationship with the others and showing respect for each other. Set up the tone of the conversation to trust you and for them to bring the issues that cause them stress. As you treat others the way you would like to be treated, you not only prevent unnecessary turnover in your group, but you'll detect the hidden complacency when and if this occurs and will help avoid errors of safety and fatalities in your workplace. Trust me, you need to meet safety score goals for the company, but mostly you need to better your competencies, which can spare the lives of many around you. Alvin Goldman on mental shoes proposed, the ability to put oneself into the mental shoes of another person to understand his or her emotions and feelings. Leaders with empathy can attune to a wide range of emotional signals, letting them sense the felt but unspoken emotions in a person or a group. They listen attentively and can grasp the other person's perspective. Empathy makes a person able to get along well with people of diverse backgrounds or from different cultures. Practicing compassion will allow you to break the walls down and to practice the open door policy to all your reports. It will bring loyalty and respect to you no matter what your management style is. Social skills. Concerns the skills or adeptness at inducing desirable responses in others. The relationship management cluster contains 6 competencies. Inspiration. Leaders who inspire both create resonance and move people with a compelling mission. They embody what they ask others to do and are able to articulate a shared mission in a way that inspires others to follow. They offer a sense of common purpose beyond the day-to-day tasks, making work exciting. Influence. Indicators of a leader's powers of influence range from finding just the right appeal for a given listener to know how to build buy-in from key people and a network of support for an initiative. They are persuasive and engaging when addressing a group. Developing others. Leaders who are adept at cultivating people's abilities show a genuine interest in those they are helping along, understanding their goals, strengths, and weaknesses. Such leaders can give timely and constructive feedback and are natural mentors and coaches. Change catalyst. Leaders who can catalyze change are able to recognize the need for change, challenge status quo, and champion the new order. They can be strong advocates for change, even in the face of opposition, making the argument for it compellingly. They find practical ways to overcome barriers to change. Conflict management. Leaders who manage conflicts best are able to draw out all parties, understanding the different perspectives, and find common ideals that everyone can endorse. They surface the conflict, acknowledge the feelings and views of all sides, and then redirect the energy toward a shared ideal. Teamwork and collaboration. Leaders who are able team players generate an atmosphere of friendly collegiality and are themselves models of respect, helpfulness, and cooperation. They draw others into active, enthusiastic commitment to the collective effort and build spirit and identity. They spend time forging and cementing close relationships beyond mere work obligations. Now that you have given the core concepts, need to develop your competencies. Let us review some tools that will help you as you regulate your emotions. Tools to regulate your emotions. The emotional regulation concept is a term generally used to describe a person's ability to effectively manage and respond to an emotional experience. But the ability to keep your emotions under control requires more than just a willing heart. Understanding a situation through the eyes of another and strengthening self-management and self-awareness skills are tools that can be used in your quest to regulate your emotions. But it takes a strong conviction to lead and set an example to inspire others. Seeing the other side. If you ever want to understand the type of person you are and how you behave, ask other people. It's easy to justify the things you do, so much so that it seems like everything you do is perfect. But if you take an honest look at yourself, you'll probably say not only is this perfection untrue for you, but it is unattainable for all. Talk to your boss, coworkers, or friends about how they view you. If someone says, when everything's good, you're a nice person, but if something doesn't go your way, you have an explosive temper. Don't get upset, and don't automatically say that it's not true. Gaining this insight is a valuable tool for you to help regulate your emotions. Your emotions and how you express them is your responsibility. If you don't like it, fix it. Self-management and self-awareness. Self-management can sometimes be a hard quality to tame when self-awareness produces a very arrogant and self-centered result. The strength to self-management and self-awareness lies in the balance between the two. Understanding who you are, the role you play, authority you possess are all very important. But when these things overshadow your ability to be consistent and accountable, this could cause a poor outcome. By the same token, if one lacks understanding of whom they are and their importance, this could also hinder their ability to be consistent and accountable. People who are aware of their methods of dealing with conflict and understand the bearing of their way of doing things aren't as likely to make matters worse than those who are not aware of themselves. Giving in without giving up. Compromise is an unavoidable part of dealing with others in both the business world and personal relationships. The ideal situation would be that everyone agrees with everything you say, but that is highly unlikely. Unless you live in a society that does not value diplomacy, this is a skill that will present plenty of opportunities for you to master it. This can be even more of an issue when you're in a position of less influence. You may be expected to compromise at a greater level, or even be expected to follow the lead of your superiors without regard to your own feelings or opinions. In either case, learning how to have your beliefs while accepting the ideas of others and not causing tension in the relationship is crucial to your success in the workplace. Therefore, balance your ideas and the ideas of others and compromise. Gaining control. Just by the very nature of the world, control is a very powerful thing to have. Having control causes companies to become multi-billion-dollar entities and nations to crumble. This is no less important when it comes to having control over yourself, your thoughts, and your emotions. Having control, or the lack thereof, could be the difference between building a successful career and no career at all. If you have control over these aspects of your life, pat yourself on the back. If you do not, read the following to obtain the necessary tools to become the master of your fate. Using coping thoughts. The power of the mind is amazing. Every day, you'll encounter at least one situation that requires you to use the calming forces of your mind to overcome the potential anxiety of the issue at hand. In order to use these forces, you must have a reservoir that consists of them. When you find yourself in a situation that requires coping skills, do the following. Take a deep breath. Deep breathing has an amazingly calming effect on the brain. By taking a deep breath or two, you can easily avoid your first natural reaction to a stressful situation. This can prevent you from saying something or physically acting out in a manner that is inappropriate and may require you to apologize later on. Step away from the issue. Mentally take yourself away from the situation and analyze the issue itself. Ask yourself, is it something worth using your emotions on? Does it truly impact you? Will your emotions bring forth a resolution to the problem or just internal conflict for you? Use positive thinking. Even if the situation requires you to physically act, you do not want to approach it with thoughts of anger, sadness, or other negative emotions. Consciously tell your mind to think happy thoughts. Thinking happy thoughts is not a way to avoid the problem, but rather a way to prepare you to tackle it in a productive manner. Using relaxing techniques. Relaxation techniques are not just used to help you feel better. They actually play a major role in reducing the stress on your body and mind that comes from the experiences of everyday life. According to the Mayo Clinic, relaxation techniques can reduce stress symptoms, slowing your heart rate, lowering blood pressure, slowing your breathing rate, increasing blood flow to major muscles, reducing muscle tension and chronic pain, improving concentration, reducing anger and frustration, boosting confidence to handle problems. There are several common types of relaxation techniques, with 3 of them being 1. Autogenic. This technique uses the senses to promote relaxation. For example, one may think about a peaceful place and then use relaxed breathing. Or they might repeat words in their mind to do away with muscle tension. 2. Progressive muscle. In this technique, individuals purposely tense and then relax each muscle group. 3. Visualization. With visualization, the individual imagines a calming place and tries to utilize his or her senses to feel like they are really at that place. Bringing it all together. Once you've mastered the art of coping with difficult situations, it may not be necessary to engage in relaxation techniques as much. But until you've reached that point, and maybe even afterwards, finding effective ways to relax yourself and take control of the situation is highly beneficial. Whether it's dealing with an unruly coworker or a demanding boss, not allowing negativity to get the best of your emotions can benefit your mind, body, and soul, which is the ultimate goal. Making an impact. The world's growing ever more competitive. Even if you are employed already, making sure you have access to the best opportunities means going beyond the usual. It's not enough to stay on top of your to-do list or meet the expectations of your job description. If you want to make an impression, you have to differentiate yourself from others. There are 3 things people notice that can help or hinder you in setting yourself apart: your attitude, how you treat others, and how you act when you think no one is watching. Understanding emotions and how to manage them in the workplace. As previously stated, having emotions is an inherent part of all human beings. Understanding one's emotions and learning how to use them is the responsibility of each person. Many times, it may feel like the workplace is no place for emotions, whether good or bad. But the truth is, emotions must be utilized. For example, if you are the manager and your team is about to miss an important deadline, it's up to you to stay in control and take the opportunity to stress how necessary it is for you to meet the deadline. The approach you take is determined by your natural tendencies, as well as level of professionalism. One level-headed approach may be to call the team to a meeting and explain the ramifications of not meeting the deadline. This would also be a good time to listen to the team members to find out if there's something out of their control that is preventing them from doing their job. Deciding which style is best can be done by weighing the pros and cons of each, as well as which would result in the most positive outcome. Do not rely solely on how you feel, but what makes logical sense. Assessing a situation. The way to assess a situation is to step away from it. Before deciding on the path to take to approach a situation, one must first assess it. Is it worth doing anything about? How will it impact me or others? Take yourself out of the equation in order to fully best understand what it's about and the effect it will have. This can allow you to make a more reasonable decision rather than one based on emotions. The overall goal is to be effective when dealing with issues, so make sure you know what you are getting into before embarking on the journey. Disagreeing constructively. To disagree constructively means to do so in a positive, productive manner. Its purpose is not to disagree for the sake of disagreeing or getting your point across. It is also not used to be negative or destructive of another's thoughts. The workplace is a place where disagreeing is a common occurrence. Companies look for the most effective ways to carry out operations in the most productive way, and therefore must invest in process improvement strategies, which opens the floor for discussion and compromise. What does constructively disagreeing look like in practice, you may ask? Well, it's acknowledging and confirming someone else's ideas. Then present your own ideas and compromise as proactive teams do and win. Example: Ted, because of the nature of their duties, I feel the customer service phone team should arrive 30 minutes before their shift to bring up their systems and test their equipment to make sure it's properly working so they're ready to take the first call as soon as their shift starts. Michael, I understand your point, Ted, and I agree the phone team should arrive early to prepare themselves for the start of their shift. However, I feel that 15 minutes is sufficient time for them to get everything in place. A leader has an immeasurable impact on those they oversee. Their emotional output in a professional setting will affect their employees psychologically and, by extension, their productivity as well. If you were to ask anyone, they would undoubtedly tell you an optimistic leader is far better than a pessimistic one. Pessimism doesn't grow your business or even maintain the status quo. The pessimists on your staff make the job harder for everyone around them. They make difficulties out of opportunities, and the worst part is that their surliness rubs off on others. An optimist leader, however, understands that life can be a bumpy road, but at least is leading somewhere. They learn from mistakes and failures and are not afraid to fail again. It may not be your fault for being knocked down, but it is certainly your fault for not getting up. Optimism. Possessing the quality of optimism is the ability to find the bright side of every situation. This is an admirable position that not all have. The secret to exhibiting this characteristic is to understand that there are no issues that cannot have a positive spin. Optimistic employees tend to be more productive in terms of quality and quantity of their work, and therefore make more money for the company. Optimism is also very good for your health. There have been several studies performed that conclude that those who live with a bright outlook generally live longer than those who do not. Also, optimists are likely to have more long-lasting, successful personal relationships. Not only is this beneficial for an individual's personal life, but optimism can be a competitive advantage in the business world. Like every other entity, businesses suffer losses and setbacks, but the trick to maintaining the stability of a company is a leadership that knows how to look past the current problem to a nearby resolution. Therefore, see a resolution. Why? Because nobody wants to follow a leader that whimpers at the sight of trouble, just like the people he is leading. Not many people can honestly say they desire this type of leader. This concludes the Emotional Intelligence Workshop. We hope that your journey to improve your understanding of emotional intelligence is just beginning. Thank you for your participation, and we'll be happy to help you in reviewing and discussing your action plan. Call us for your free consultation.